Well, here's a 98 GMC Sierra SLE C1500 with the no brakes. I thought I'd get more room underneath the dash, but you really don't. It's all flat once you remove the gauge cluster in the back seat there. So I've got everything torn apart because I don't really know where I might have room to reach and play with the wires. Currently I have the brake switch apart, and I guess I'll put that back together now. See if I can get that to work now. I don't know if it will. And then these are those little lug things that I was saying before that go back and forth. So here I have the inside of the brake switch, and I tried to clean up the contacts in this. It's a little hard to see, but when you depress the brake, it pushes everything this way, and then these things do magic like that. I don't know, I don't get it. It's on a spring, the spring sets in here, and then magically some of them go out like that, and some of them go out like that from the little cam thingies, little lugs probably on the switch as it goes in when you depress the brake. That's literally the inside of the switch, so other than cleaning those up, I can't figure out why on earth it would go bad. Just doesn't make any sense. So thinking it's probably just wires in between this switch and the rest of the truck. I was able to get it to the brakes to come on quickly just for a little bit, wiggling the wires, and then that's it. So I still don't know. Okay, well, summing this up, I guess, unfortunately I wish I could show you guys underneath there, but it's just too crazy. There's lots of good videos explaining that, but this old switch is pooched. I tried sanding the contacts just super gently because it's really easy to take some material off. I did notice that this is, you know, melted or something, which doesn't make any sense. It's probably just too worn out, I guess, but it looks melted. I guess it's just broken over time. That just really should not have any effect on it whatsoever, but listen to this one click. Hear that click? Like, that's awesome. And then you can barely see the tail light here where it turns on. So obviously that's all it was. Now, funny enough, this is the old relay, and I know it's old because it says made in Canada, and you know, I don't even think they make very much stuff like this anymore. But anyways, I tried with a new relay and the old relay before I replaced this switch, and nothing happened at all. So then I replaced the switch with a brand new one, and here's the part number for that. Interrupter switch, whatever, BWD. Anywho, so I replaced that and left this old relay in there. Didn't do anything at all. Put the new relay in there after I replaced the switch right here, and sure enough it works. So I don't know if it's even possible for both of them to go wrong at the same time. I think that's way too weird and coincidental, and it makes me think that, you know, if that was the case, usually there's a different problem, but so far that seemed to do it. So I did take out the gauge cluster and all that stuff as well, but I kind of have a whole bunch of stuff to replace, so I think that's just how it goes. I have to replace a bunch of bulbs in there, and I think I'm running out of daylight now, but tomorrow I'll probably get it all put back together, and now I can safely drive this thing on the road and worry about fixing up the other minor stuff. All right, so it's officially been way too long, and I completely forgot to do the update on the brake light fix job. So what happened is the switch was bad, and funny enough, it usually never is two things at once, but the relay was also bad. So the switch is underneath the pedal, and the relay is underneath in the power distribution box over there, underneath the hood like you saw before. Really tough to film, and not gonna bother doing it, but it's up underneath the brake pedal on the left hand side, way high up there, you can't even see it. Taking apart the dash and all that was pretty stupid. It didn't help me at all. One thing that I needed to do is I needed to replace a whole bunch of light bulbs in here, so that kind of helped to do that. I'm also having a bit of an issue lately. Took it out for a drive to help my brother the other day, and the battery light came on. So I've only got like probably 10.8 volts at the most when I put a voltmeter on the alternator, and I've got the same on the battery. So I think it's still starting up fine, and it's not slow or anything like that. When I put a load on it, the gauge goes down and the volts. So I think it's just the alternator is kicking the bucket slowly. Luckily it didn't happen all at once, so that'll be the next thing to do. Super easy on these trucks. It's like 2 bolts. One thing I did find out that I really don't like is this radio, that's the only thing that illuminates on it. So this thing has a CD player, it's got a tape deck. I actually have old tapes that I was looking forward to using. And I'm gonna continue to keep this radio in here. It's just not worth it to replace it, I don't think. But basically, to make all these lights work again, you have to actually take the entire thing off, and it's a circuit board, and you have to like solder on new lights. So that's just going to be a ridiculous amount of work to keep an old stereo that's worth nothing. There is a video that I found on YouTube, and that's how I learned this. Some guy made an awesome video detailing how to, you know, put these fancy LED solder on lights on there and restore it back to what it used to be, but I just don't care. So it's also leaking water, which is fun. Not coolant, but like literal water. Apparently these things leak like crazy. There's some damage up here, which is like that when I bought it, but that side of the floor is wet. This side of the floor I think is wet. So fun stuff to deal with, but I guess that'll be the end of the brake video. It was really simple though. Like, I checked the tail lights, they weren't working right from when I bought it. Went to the back, I checked out the wires. Wires were all fine. Something that drives me nuts is when people are like, oh yeah, it's just a fuse. It's usually never a fuse. You know, check them, whatever, but usually they don't go, and if they do go, they usually go for a reason. So, you know, I checked the fuses, they were all fine. And the thing is like, between the bumper, the trailer tow package stuff, and the power distribution box, like, unless there's a part on your truck where the wires are going to vibrate around and shake around and touch stuff, chances are your wires are going to be fine, unless it got totally soaked and corroded over many years. Other than that, that's really not usually going to be the issue, which led me to the switch. And I tried taking apart the switch, I tried cleaning up the contacts, I tried to put it back together. I took pictures and I put it back together the same way. Reinstalled it, didn't fix my issue. Went down the road to the parts store, and I was able to get a relay for, I can't even remember now, it was a few months ago, but you know, maybe 30-40 bucks, something like that max. It was a pretty expensive relay, and tried the relay and it didn't fix it. So that led me with one more thing, and that was just the switch. So then I tried putting in the original relay and the new brake switch, and that still didn't fix my problem. So now that's kind of how I pinpointed, okay, I need a new brake switch and a new brake relay. So pretty weird, but maybe the switch went bad and the guy didn't know, and then maybe the relay went bad. I mean, the gas gauge jumps around on this thing. I never really know how full it is. Now the you know, volt gauge is doing the same thing. So maybe this truck just has some electrical issues, some gremlins. But anyways, hope you find it somewhat enjoyable and useful. Just try your brake switch. It is an absolute pain in the butt. You know, the only way to get at it is from underneath, unfortunately. It's not fun at all, but can be done, and probably only going to take you about an hour to reach in there. So anyways, have a good day. Bye.